So the first piece of news that I want to talk about today is actually about Idle Corp. And I want to say, before we even get into it, that I genuinely like Idle Corp, both the corporation and its talents, and from what little I know about their CEO, I seem to like him too. So I'm letting you know in advance, I'm going to be biased towards this company when covering this, so take what I say with a grain of salt. That being said, I did want to cover a callout made on Twitter a couple of hours ago from a VTuber named Rosa Nagashi, who posted a Google document titled My Experience as a Freelancer with Idle Corp. They claim they were a freelance mixer and audio engineer for Idle Corp. Specifically, they did the voice packs and a few of the covers. They state that a lot of the projects were rushed, with several of them with less than 24 hours to be completed. For the Christmas voice packs, they say they needed to do all of them on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, as I didn't receive the commission any sooner and they needed to get them out mid-Christmas Day, which, assuming that's true, is a blisteringly fast turnaround time during a time of the year where I'm sure they would rather be doing literally anything else. But they do go on to say that they actually didn't mind doing the rush jobs because they, quote, could usually fit it into their schedule and never required an awful lot of work, which is good. Now, while rush jobs are an inconvenient reality of trying to run a corporation that perhaps might not be the best at pre-planning, one thing that I believe, if true, is a lot less acceptable is this right here. On 4 separate occasions in the span of 6 months, I did not receive payment on time, sometimes even having to wait an additional 3 weeks before finally being paid for my work. Payments only go out once a month, meaning more than half of my invoices weren't paid on time. Now, I do want to pause here and say that making payments to freelancers is frequently a point of friction that even the largest VTuber agencies have been repeatedly reported as a source of tension. Even much larger companies like Niji Sanji seem to struggle with paying their artists on time. However, I'll say the exact same thing here that I said to Niji Sanji. That's not the artist's problem. You need to get your shit figured out. I am aware that it's difficult. I'm aware that, especially when paying internationally, it can be complicated. It's not an excuse. You need to pay the people who work for you. And here we have what appears to be the onus for writing this document. They have yet to be paid for the work they did on June 13th, at time of writing. They say it's been 3 weeks and they have not been paid. They go on to say, typically when I reached out about unpaid invoices, they were always paid within the next 48 hours. This time is different though. I have reached out on multiple separate occasions about payments this month, and all I've gotten back is we're working on it. And that's not acceptable. They go on to say they reached out to other freelancers who have done work for Idle in June and have yet to be paid at time of writing. Everything from voice packs to art to video editing to mixing work, all unpaid. She goes on to say that she wants to be extremely clear, this is not the fault of the talents or the managers that she has been speaking to. The talents are some of the loveliest people I have ever worked with, and some of them have even reached out to make sure I was being paid enough. They go on to specify that they are making this call-out post specifically to get the attention of whoever the hell manages the payments of artists and talents. They go on to make a couple of clarifications. Originally, they were promised to be paid bi-monthly on the 10th and the 30th. Edit number 2. Management reached out to me soon after this post blew up, and I have just now been paid for my work, which is actually extremely fast. You'll notice that this says July 19th, 9 a.m. my time zone. It's currently July 19th, 6:48 p.m. So they got a same day response, which is great. They go on to say, however, as you can see in the Twitter post and quote retweets, there's still a lot of artists who are dealing with issues. Therefore, she will not be deleting this post and will still ask to share it around. Now, as far as call-out posts go, this is definitely one of the much more tame ones that I've ever read. I don't think I've ever read a call-out post where the issue stated in the call-out post was resolved by the time I got to it, literally the same day. So honestly, I think that's kind of impressive. I think the fact that Idle was able to resolve the issue the same day shows that Idle is likely not intending to stiff the talent on payments. Even as we read in this article, the artist themselves doesn't believe there's any sort of ill will at play, and she loves everyone that she's spoken to at the company. So I don't interpret this as a sign of any sort of downward trend or death spiral. It doesn't strike me as a massive red flag, but it's definitely a yellow flag in my opinion, and definitely shouldn't be ignored. I suspect Idle is a relatively tiny company with probably a tiny management team, and I think they have a tendency to bite off more than they can chew and kind of behind the scenes are a little bit perhaps scrambling to get everything together. I think this is a symptom of disorganized management that's trying to do more than they reasonably can. And this is frequently a problem with smaller agencies. They have very, very big dreams and very, very small budgets. But even though I don't believe there's any malice involved, this level of disorganization and this level of broken promises should be noted, paid attention to, and I think it's completely reasonable to try and hold Idol's feet to the fire a little bit here and publicly shame them. And I'm glad this person is actually leaving this post up publicly, because not only is this going to warn other artists who might want to work for Idol that they might struggle to get paid, the fact that they're publicly throwing shade at the company, hopefully in an effort to clean up their image, will force the management at Idol Corp to get their shit together and pay people on time as promised. Now, a few hours after this document went out, the official Idol Corp Twitter account replied with an apology, saying, "We apologize for the poor experience and the stress it has caused. We are committed to improving and will address this in an upcoming announcement. In the meantime, if anyone has an unpaid invoice, please contact our email and we will handle it ASAP." To which the artist replied, "While I'm grateful for your quick communication after this post was made, I am extremely frustrated it had to come this far, and I sincerely hope that this visible change is happening in the very near future so we can continue working with you smoothly. Best of luck to all of you." Also responding to this post is Rin Penrose, who says, "If we've worked together in the past and you've had any unresolved issues concerning payment, DM me here or in Discord and I'll bring it up to the guys trying to sort everything. It's the least I can do. I can't guarantee anything. I don't actually run this by staff before posting tee, but it's worth a shot. Without the work of our freelancers, I'd be out several tens of millions of views. So I want to make sure you guys get the benefit from your own work as well." And even though I think it's genuinely fair to criticize Idol the corporation for not having their shit together, it seems both myself and the fan base agree that Rin is hella based for personally stepping up and stepping in to try and get things rolling as smoothly as possible. It's genuinely not the responsibility of the talent to do that. I'm just saying I appreciate that she's willing to. I also just appreciate the rebellious attitude of making a post like this without running it past management first. I think that's a genuinely good look. Part of the reason I like Idol Corp so much is specifically because Rin seems to be able to say and do basically whatever and get away with it and bully management a little bit, and she still has a job.
Management really should start keeping an eye on me before I start leaking government secrets on my about page.
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure and add that little bit of context before moving on. The next piece of news I wanted to talk about is yet another in a long list of content creators in general and VTubers more specifically having to go to Twitter to get any kind of help from YouTube after they do something stupid. Bao says in this tweet, "I've had 3 different videos get demonetized and a complete takedown since the beginning of this week. Can a real human being please review these claims?" She goes on to explain that this was video footage of her being given a tour around an animal sanctuary, and the tour guide said, "You can't pet them like a dog, they don't want to be touched," and somehow that got flagged as adult content. And they try to claim that there was a human reviewer involved, even though obviously there could not have been, because nothing lewd was happening. Very clearly the AI or algorithm or whatever just picked up on the term petting and interpreted it as lewd when it wasn't. There's another video clip called Bao Thirst for Lycoan? I've never heard that name before in my life. For 9 minutes, which was actually removed from YouTube. And she says that the clip got completely taken down, but the stream VOD with the exact same content has yet to be flagged for anything. And lastly, there was one video that got age restricted where it says Bao's Lucy roast went too far. If I had to take a stab in the dark as to why this got age restricted, I have to imagine it's this outfit right here, because it is inarguably a pretty provocative outfit. That shirt looks like it's coming all the way off. Based on the fact that it's short form content that's getting demonetized, age restricted, or outright taken off of YouTube, and not the long form content, I have to assume that these videos are probably being reported by people who just don't like Bao. And then this quote unquote human reviewer is probably just a bot that scans the video image and the subtitles looking for anything lewd, and then makes a pretty automatic decision. Like Bao says here, the appeal got rejected within minutes. Obviously a computer-generated response. And regardless of what any message or email might say, obviously it's not a human reviewer. Obviously the first one is complete and utter nonsense. The only one I could see even being remotely plausible as being reviewed by a human and still taken down are the ones with the VTuber models with revealing outfits. And obviously I'm aware that they have other videos where they use the same models and they didn't get bonked for it, but likely those videos weren't reported. If an AI is going to take down a video, it'll usually let you know while it's doing the checks when you first upload the video. Every time you upload a video to YouTube, it does checks for copyright and NSFW stuff. Like, it does that AI scan right away. So I'm 99% sure someone is reporting these videos. And then very likely the automated system is just agreeing with the report. And it's genuinely frustrating that in order to appeal this shit, it seems like you have to call YouTube out on Twitter. And even if you do get their attention on Twitter, they just tell you to request a review. What's crazy is that later she posted an update where YouTube reviewed the zoo video again, and they say, after manually reviewing the video, we've confirmed that it isn't suitable for all advertisers. As a result, it will continue to run limited or no ads. Which, what? There's no adult content in this fucking zoo video. And YouTube's reply to this is like, we understand how important this is to you. We're going to pass this along for another look. It may take a couple of days until we have an update, but we'll let you know when we have one. And I suspect the reason it's going to take a couple of days is because this is probably the very first time in the entire process that YouTube is actually having a human review it, and it's probably going to take a couple of days because I imagine the backlog for videos they need to review is insane. I am curious to see if this video gets demonetized, and if it does, I will mention it in a pinned comment, because I've basically quoted and shown everything that was in Bao's video, so I'm genuinely wondering if the AI scanner thing is gonna pick up on some aspect that it thinks is inappropriate and demonetize this video as well. We'll find out. I don't expect to be demonetized though. I almost never get demonetized. Moving right along to more false reports on YouTube flagging videos, we have an alien VTuber. I believe their name is Aeri. I'm sure people will correct me in the comments if that's not accurate. According to them, they got mass reported by another creator / her fans, and YouTube removed her main channel for violating their sex and nudity policy. All of her appeals got denied. Couldn't even get through to a real person through Google features. And the safety team said it's already been denied and there's nothing more they can do. Now this is where it gets interesting. They say they hired a lawyer, and the lawyer says this is exceedingly common, and they have many clients who get falsely reported. And I want to zoom in on this part here because it confirms what I think all of us have already suspected. A lawyer confirmed that all report / content monitoring is automated, and that majority of non-violating removals are due to illegitimate reporting. So basically what I suspected in the previous segment, 100% confirmed by a lawyer. And this is particularly embarrassing. It took a real lawyer literal weeks to get through to someone at YouTube. It is so beyond clear that YouTube does not want to engage with real people about content violations. They just want to let AI run the whole damn site. And apparently, even though they finally got through to someone and got several channels returned, there's still one channel they can't get reactivated. Even after contacting a lawyer, even after getting in touch with a real human being, they still can't get all of their channels back. So if you're a YouTuber and you feel like dealing with YouTube is a goddamn headache, just know you're not alone. Even a lawyer can't figure YouTube out. The next thing I want to talk about is an up-and-coming VTuber agency called Variance Project, which seems to be attracting some attention. They say that they are an agency dedicated to storytelling, and their logo is quite literally a pen. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I suspect they'll be diving very hard into the sort of roleplay and kayfabe that made VTubing so famous in the first place. I think there's potential here. Who knows, there might be some interesting narratives at play here. And it is worth mentioning that Variance Project is a rebrand of the previous VTubing venture called DigiLive. DigiLive isn't someone I'm familiar with, so I can't comment on this particular rebranding, but I just thought I'd mention it now in case it becomes becomes relevant in the future. Who knows? Maybe DigiLife has some skeletons in their closet. You never know with this type of thing. The next couple things I want to talk about aren't VTuber news related, but they're still interesting tech news. So I figured I'd tack them on at the end here just because I want to yap about them. The first of which being there is a company called CrowdStrike, which offers critical computer services to countless businesses. And after a recent update, their entire network got blue screen. The blue screen of death has been affecting countless companies. And if the memes are to be believed, CrowdStrike allegedly took down 70% of all Windows systems worldwide in one day. And just to venture through a couple more memes, just for the hell of it, CrowdStrike, I'm going to push an update on Friday. You've tested to make sure it works, right? Blue screen of death. My chief security officer appreciating me for rescuing the business during the global Microsoft outage. Me who forgot to install the latest CrowdStrike update. Here's this screenshot that I pray to every god is real because it's just so fucking funny. First day at CrowdStrike. Pushed a little update and taking the afternoon off. Deuces, fired. Totally unfair. Okay, no, that was just a meme. All right, that's not real. The one silver lining of this global computer outage is the fact that it gives me an excuse to play Thor in a video. I fucking love this guy, dude. He never has a bad take.
Please explain what's going on with CrowdStrike. All right, CrowdStrike is a security company. They released a patch. That patch causes Windows machines, unfortunately, to be sod over and over and over again, forever. And the only way to fix this is with an IT person to manually fix them. Oh boy. Now, understand that CrowdStrike is on millions of computers. Millions of computers. And a lot of them are critical infrastructure. So things like stock markets are impacted, things like hospitals are impacted, emergency services like 911 are down in some countries, airports are down all over the world, you've got grocery systems, you've got banks, you've got government shit, everything is down. It is a worldwide, global IT infrastructure failure. This is billions to trillions of dollars in damage. This is the largest outage I have ever seen in my life and has ever existed in the history of any technology we know of. It's a pretty big deal. It's not a Microsoft bug, it's a CrowdStrike bug. It has nothing to do with Microsoft at all. Yeah. Shit sucks.
Anyone as confused as I was as to who the hell CrowdStrike even is, apparently they are a cybersecurity company, and their cybersecurity software is on a lot of Windows machines. Specifically because any Windows machine that's part of a very large corporation is prone to hacking and that sort of genre of threat. And the very last thing that I want to talk about today is something that has happened to countless creators, but I do want to highlight just a couple of them.
29 videos of mine were swiped from YouTube by large tech companies who used those videos to train their AI chatbots without my knowledge or consent.
I'm not going to go through every post made about this because it seems like just about everybody who is large and has a YouTube channel, and even relatively small accounts that I've never heard of before, have all been hit by this. Now, rather than go through all of these posts like I normally do, I've gone through a bunch of posts already and read a couple of articles, so I'm just gonna give this to you directly and summarized. And rather than list every single Twitter account and article that I've read, the source for this bit is just gonna be trust me bro, because I'm too lazy to cite my sources. But basically, a dude on GitHub went through and scraped thousands of YouTube videos for their YouTube subtitles, their transcript files of what's being said within the videos. He scraped all of that and threw it into a data set. One dude did the harvesting, and this data set that he created is specifically targeting videos that have manually uploaded subtitles, because you simply can't rely on YouTube's closed captioning service to provide accurate subtitles. They get shit wrong all the time. So that's why he went after videos that have manually uploaded subtitles. And he went after videos of all sorts. Conspiracy videos, ancient aliens, politics, some really fringe stuff, not just major videos by popular creators. And there's definitely biases at play. There are some people with millions of subscribers that had like 9 of their videos scraped, whereas other people like Jacksepticeye had several hundred of their videos scraped. Now, because this dataset that he created was posted publicly for free on GitHub, that dataset was basically grabbed by every major company that's trying to train large language models. So that's Apple, that's Nvidia, that's OpenAI. Large language model AIs need a tremendous amount of text, natural human sounding text, in order to improve the quality of their models. It's been stated multiple times by multiple sources that more text leads to better generative AI. So that is why every single major AI company used this data set. This is one data set out of a metric fuckload of data sets, which are all being grabbed and fed into the machine. And the reason that I'm being very, very specific with my words and making sure to point out that one guy created the data set and everyone else then used that data set that was publicly available is because you're seeing a lot of headlines that say shit like, Apple stole my video, or something along the lines of OpenAI stole my videos, or something along those lines. And while, yes, technically that is very, very true, these major companies did use content from your videos to power their large language model. It is worth mentioning that these companies did not go out of their way to specifically target individual YouTubers. And they just found a data set on GitHub that was high enough quality and threw it into their model. And that doesn't excuse them for doing that. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of people are very uncomfortable all the way to very, very angry with the fact that in order to make an AI work, you have to take other people's content without knowledge, consent, or compensation. That's still an issue, but I just want to be very, very clear that these are not malicious, targeted attacks as people are making them out to be online. If you want to have a conversation for or against AI and the information you're using to back up your argument isn't correct, then it's going to be pretty easy to defeat you in that argument, even if your point is valid. And I think with how dominating AI is becoming in our lives and how it shows no sign of slowing down, these are the conversations we need to be having, and that's why I want to put this news in front of your faces, even though it's outside my normal niche of content. But anyway, that's everything I want to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below and share your opinions on what we covered in today's video. Bye guys!